Hi, and welcome to two-point perspective, the L shape. So start by drawing a horizon line, just like you did before. And you're going to draw 2 points on that horizon line, basically on either side. It doesn't have to be exactly at the ends. It can be. It doesn't really matter. Then somewhere in the middle of those 2 points, I'm going to draw a straight line down. Now, at this point, I can still have a scale. All right, if I'm doing the L shape, I know it's a 2 by 3 by 1 cube, and I'm going to make my scale. 1 cube is equal to 2 grid lines, just like we did for the 1-point perspective. So we can go back and see, oh, okay, so that's the difference between 1 and 2 points. So that's where we're heading. I'm going to just pick anywhere in between these 2 lines, start here, and it's 2 cubes tall, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4 grid lines tall, like that. All right, so then just pick one side of the line. I'm going to start at the top, and I'm going to draw my line straight back to the vanishing point. Then on the same side of things, go back to the other side of the line and draw it back to that same vanishing point. So far, pretty much the same as 1-point perspective. Then you have to move your ruler, and you better be using a ruler for this. If you're not using a ruler, you're going to have a bad time because it makes it easy to go back to the vanishing point. Boom, and then same over here, back to here. Sometimes people have trouble even just doing that. I feel like if you're having trouble doing that, work through it. Once you get that, hopefully the rest of it will kind of fall into place, because I know like moving the ruler around on the page and going to both vanishing points can be a little bit confusing the first time around. Okay, so I'm going to make this side of it the front. This is going to be the right side, and then I'll have this be the top. So since I know the cube is going to be 3 cubes over here, 3 cubes wide, and then it goes 1 cube deep, that's this is a rough estimate of what I'm going to be doing, just so you have an idea. So 3 cubes wide to me looks like it might be like maybe a little bit more than 3 grid lines. Happened to work out. Oh, that's not a straight line at all. Oh my gosh. I've complained about this before. My pen nib that I'm using is getting a little old, and it's bending all over the place, and it's making me hard to see where exactly I'm placing my line. So I apologize if I have to erase stuff and it's not looking good. Oh, look at that. That's kind of nice. So for me, it's well, that's a little skinny, wouldn't you say? That's kind of skinny. I could make it a little wider. So for determining how far to go the lines, hopefully you can see it's a little bit trial and error. You can't just count up the grid lines like we did over here for this first line. This was nice because we could just count it and boom, that's it. Once you start having to estimate where to place those lines, that's a little bit tricky. But I'm going to do the same thing. So I'm starting over here at this point, and I know I want to make the back of this glass box. It's going to look like the isometric one did, but I don't just stop here. I have to draw all the way back to the vanishing point, and that'll tell me exactly where it needs to go. So that's nice. The vanishing point is kind of like your safety blanket, just like the grid lines were our safety blanket before. You're counting the grid lines, that tells you how far to go. Well, the vanishing point kind of tells you how far to go. So you got to make sure you're using a ruler and your vanishing point. Now I have my glass box, and I need to draw where the object touches the box. So I like to try to start on this leading edge as my jumping off point, because that's the only thing that's to scale right now. So if I'm picturing the L shape in my mind, I know that it's going to look something like this. And I know that there's going to be a corner right there. And I know that corner is halfway up the line. So I'm going to go, this is 1, 2, 1, 2. This is right in the middle. So that's the only time I have the grid lines to guide me. So I have to take this, and see, my pen nib kind of moved it over to the side a little bit. So I'm starting at this point based on my scale, and I'm just going to drop it back to the vanishing point. And the vanishing point tells me, hey, you're doing good work, kid. All right? You're putting those lines where they're supposed to be. You don't have to estimate that. Just go from that corner to the vanishing point, and it's all good. Okay? So actually, I have where the object touches the right side. So that's good. I need to continue drawing my L shape. So I need to think about, like, where do I want this line to be? And now I'm estimating. So to me, I don't know. I think it looks like this might look good if that's like that. I know it should be a little bit skinnier as you go back, because in perspective, the whole point is things that are further away should be smaller, and things that are closer are larger. So this area here should be a little bit smaller compared to like over here if you were going to draw two other lines. Okay, cool. So once you're happy with that, and by the way, we're done drawing where the object touches the front face. Once you're happy drawing that line, now we can use our vanishing point again. Whenever possible, try to look for ways. So I see this corner here, and I really want to just draw that line back to this vanishing point, because that's going to tell me where to draw the top face. So very carefully over at this corner, and then it's like, oh, I know it should look like this, right? The top face looks like that. I've been drawing this L shape forever. I know it looks like that, Mr. Nangle, but how do you know it? Is it like that? Is it like that? The proportions will get really messed up if you're not using the vanishing point. And then, oh, look at that, beautiful. By using the vanishing point, it's going to tell me exactly where to place that line. Now I'm going to draw the object lines, just because we're done drawing where the object touches the box, but we didn't draw what's inside the box yet. So we're still got some construction lines to draw, but to make it, oh, see, that's a little messed up. Oh my goodness. Okay, let's try that here. Okay, nice. Okay, and then we got where the object touches the box on the right side of things. And that's pretty good. That's pretty good, I guess. You know, that's not great. Much better. Okay, now the strategy for drawing what's inside the box. It all comes down to trying to find places where you can draw back to the vanishing point. So find a corner where you think it'll look nice to draw back to the vanishing point. That's one strategy. All right, try to use the vanishing point and match it up with a corner as much as possible. The other strategy is look for places. See how all these lines are just dropped straight down? That's going to continue inside the box too. So anywhere you see a corner where it's like, oh, there should be a vertical line right there, just drop that line straight down and see what happens, okay? So I'm going to start by starting from the corners and going back to the vanishing point. So here, and then here, and then if you do it right, starting at this corner, when you drop it straight down, it should meet where these two lines that I just drew intersect. And they kind of do. They're a little bit off, but you know, I'm not going to beat myself up about it. And if I start right where they intersect, you know, it's a little bit off, but that's okay. Listen, that's going to happen, especially if your pen nib that you're using is not really up to state standards on what it should be. I'm just kidding. There's no state standards on IED teachers and their pen nibs. Okay, so those are oh, look at that. That turned out really nice. Wow. I'm sure yours looks really good too. And then, you know what? We could even do a little bit of tonal shading. Now, remember, as some people are forgetting, tonal shading, you need 3 different tones. For the front, I'm going to do cross-hatching both ways. Okay, 3 different tones. This is one. The second tone is for the things facing the right side. And then I'm lazy, so I make the third tone blank. This is technically a tone up here. So tonal shading, there's 3 faces here. There is a front face, so that's 1 tone. There's a right side face, that's 2 tones. And this is a top face, so that's 3 tones. All right, so you have to have 3 different tones. Some people are only doing 2 or even 0. All right, but you can do it and you can have fun. This is a lot of fun. Oh, and then look at the difference between, what's the difference between 2-point perspective and 1-point perspective? Whoa. Can you see? Okay. Doesn't this look more like, this one looks more like, would you say oblique, or would you say that looks more like an isometric? And then how about this? Does that look more like an oblique or an isometric? So coming up here, oh, look at that. See how this is our isometric that we drew. See how it's at an angle like this one is? So the 2 point is kind of like the isometric, and the 1 point is kind of, remember these obliques from a while ago? See how they're flat on the bottom and then flat on the bottom? So that's just a clue to, like, something to look for if you're asked to identify, oh, is that 1 point or 2 point? You just ask yourself, ooh, is it flat on the bottom like a 1 point? Sorry, is it flat on the bottom like an oblique? Then it's 1 point. And then if it's, oh, both are angled backwards, and I could tell that the lines are not parallel to each other, so that must be a 2 point perspective. Okay, that's about it. Have a great day.